Good day, everyone. Welcome to my virtual class. Today we will be discussing about the moral agent and the six stages of moral development by Kohlberg. So, moral agent is a person who has the ability to discern right from wrong, to be held accountable for his or her own actions. Moral agents have a moral responsibility not to cause unjustified harm. Moral character refers to the existence of lack of virtues such as integrity, courage, fortitude, honesty, and loyalty. The Greek ethikos or ethical is the adjective cognate with ethos or character. The highlighting is not mere distinctiveness or individuality, but on the blend of qualities that make a person the sort of ethically admirable individual he or she is. Therefore, moral character refers to having or lacking moral virtue. Let us now discuss the moral development of Lawrence Kohlberg. So, moral development is the gradual development of an individual's concept of right and wrong, can be conscious or unconscious, religious values, social attitudes, and certain behavior. Kohlberg was also able to demonstrate through studies that people progressed in their moral reasoning. He believed that there were six identifiable stages, which generally classified into three levels, such as pre-conventional, conventional, and also the post-conventional. So when we talk about this moral development, we are also talking about the age, okay, of an individual. So let's discuss what a pre-conventional is. Pre-conventional level of moral reasoning is especially common to or common in children, although adults can also exhibit this level of reasoning. Reasoners in the pre-conventional level judge the morality of action by its direct consequence. So this is purely concerned with the self in an egocentric manner. So when we say egocentric, that means having little regards for anything other than one's own interest. When we say conventional, this stage is typical of adolescents and adults. Person who reason in conventional way judge the morality of actions to societal views and expectations. And then when we say post conventional, it is also known as the principled level. And at this stage or at this level, the individual moves beyond the perspective of his or her own society. Morality is defined in terms of abstract principles and values that apply to all the situations and society. So this one is also due to this nature of self before others. So that is post-conventional stage or level. So now let us try to digest the given situation and let us test what your actions would be in the Heinz dilemma. So here is the situation. A woman was near death from a special kind of cancer. There was one drug that the doctors thought might save her. It was a form of radium that a druggist in the same town had recently discovered. The drug was expensive to make, but the druggist was charging 10 times what the drug cost him to produce. He paid $2,000 for a small dose of the drug. The sick woman's husband, Heinz, went to everyone he knew to borrow the money. But he could only get together about $1,000, which is half of its cost. He told the druggist that his wife was dying and asked him to sell it cheaper or let him pay later. But the druggist said, "No, I discovered the drug and I am going to make money from it." So Heinz got desperate and broke into the man's store to steal the drug for his wife. So the question here is, what would you do if you are in the position of Heinz? Will you do the same or will you steal to save your partner's life? Or will you just let your partner die because you know that stealing is a crime and you will be punished by the law? Now prove your answer. So let me discuss the level one or the pre conventional level. So, stage one, obedience and punishment. Now, at this stage, Children see rules as fixed and absolute. So it has something to do with mother and daughter law, okay, inside our home. And then it's like teacher and students rules and regulations inside the classroom. So now stage one obeys rule to avoid punishment, determines a sense of right and wrong by what is punished and what is not, obeys superior authority to make the rules, especially if the authority has the power to inflict pain, is responsive to rules that will affect his or her physical well being. So, in this stage, individuals focus on the direct consequences that their actions will have for themselves. For example, an action is perceived as morally wrong if the person who commits it get punished. So the worse punishment the act is, the more bad the act is perceived to be. So this stage is also viewed as authoritarianism stage. Stage 2 under pre-conventional level is a self-interest orientation. This espouses what's in it for me position, right behavior being defined by what is in one's own best interest. So these are the description. Number one is motivated by vengeance. It's like an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth philosophy. Is self absorbed while assuming that he or she is generous. Believes in equal sharing in that everyone gets the same regardless of need, believe that the end justify the means. Or it's like you're going to do a favor only to get a favor, and you are expecting to be rewarded for every non-selfish deed he or she does. In other words, stage 2 reasoning shows a limited interest in the needs of others, but only to a point where it might further one's own interests. Okay, it's like, for example, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. So, in this stage, concerns for others is not based on loyalty or intrinsic respect. So, let me give you an example. It's like for the dilemma of Heinz, okay? You will let Heinz borrow money to buy drugs for his partner. So your purpose is not to save the life of the wife, but to tell everyone that you are the hero in the lives of Heinz and wife. Okay? So another thing is in every actions like helping others, you are expecting something in return. So like let's say in a social media, you will only help a beggar for a picture purposes only, just to post it in a social media or in Facebook. So of course you are expecting that a lot of people will praise you, okay, or will praise him on his or her deeds. Okay, so that's an example of self-interest orientation. You are expecting something in return, or you are expecting to be rewarded by the actions that you have made. So now let us have level 2, which is conventional morality. So let's have stage 3. Stage 3 is a good boy or good girl orientation. This stage of moral development is focused on living up to social roles and expectations, emphasizes conformity and of being nice. So these are the descriptions. You find peer approval very important. You feel that intentions are as important as deeds and expect others to accept intentions or promises in place of deeds. And of course, begins to put himself or herself in another's shoes and think from another perspective. So it's like your actions depends on the approval of the peer or the society. And here, it's like you are becoming more mature in having your actions. Is that we are also thinking of the feelings, or we are also thinking and considering the feelings of other people. So you will act accordingly because that is expected in you living in this society. So that is level 2, the good boy, good girl orientation. So let us have stage 4 under level 2, which is law and social order. Okay, at this stage of moral development, people begin to consider society as a whole when making judgments. The focus is maintaining order by following rules. So, number one, it is a duty doer who believes in rigid rules that should not be changed. Okay, and of course, we are going to have respect from the authority and obeys it without any question, supports the rights of the majority without concern for those in the minority. And of course, it's is a part of about 80% of the population that does not progress past stage 4. So in this stage, again, it is important to obey laws, dictum, and social conventions because of their importance in maintaining a functioning society. It is like when someone violates the law, it is morally wrong. Culpability is thus a significant factor in this stage as it separates the bad domains from the good ones. Now let us have level 3, which is post-conventional level. So let's have stage 5. It's a legalistic social contract. So at this stage, people begin to account for the differing values, opinions, and beliefs of other people. Rules of law are important for maintaining a society which members should agree to these standards. So a person is motivated by the belief in the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. Okay, and then it people believes in consensus rather than majority rule. People respects the rights of the minority, especially the individual rights, and people believes that change in law is possible, but only through the system. And the last stage is the universal ethical principles. At this stage, people follow this internalized principle of justice, even if they conflict with laws and rules. Number one, a person believes that there are high moral principles than those represented by social rules and customs. A person is willing to accept the consequence for disobedience of the social rule he or she has rejected. The last one is a person believes that the dignity of humanity is sacred and that all humans have a value. So let us digest the Heinz dilemma that we have discussed a while ago. So let's discuss the different stages applying this Heinz dilemma. So stage 1 is punishment and orientation. Example, he shouldn't steal the drug because he might get caught and be punished. Okay, so that's stage 1. For stage 2, action is based on one's need. It won't do him any good to steal drug because his wife will be dead by the time he gets out of jail. For stage 3, good boy and good girl orientation. He shouldn't steal drugs because others will think that he is a thief. His wife will not want to be saved by stealing. For stage 4, authority orientation. Although his wife needs the drug, he should not break the law to get it. His wife's condition doesn't justify stealing. So that is traditional moral authority. For stage 5, social contract orientation. He should not steal the drugs. The druggist's response is unfair, but mutual respect of rights must be maintained. So that is a social contract. And for stage 6, ethical principles, he should steal the drugs but alert authorities he has done it. He will have to face penalty, but he will save human life. So this is what we call self-chosen ethical principle.